Check this one out, guys and gals. It's Monday morning. Got told in, wouldn't start for me when I went outside. Then it suddenly started, but it sounds absolutely like a bag of spanners. The cam sensor was changed once on it. Let's see what's wrong with it. It's probably something to do with the chain, I think. But it's knocking when it starts. That's never good. Let's check it out. Well, that's a bit typical, isn't it? Making a hell of a cracking noise before, now it's stopped doing it, so I don't know what's going on there. I've just took the airbox off though, so I have to put the airbox on and try it again, because if it's the airbox being removed, maybe it's something to do with the airflow. Could be like the timing slightly out on it, so the airbox removal kind of gives it more airflow direct to the turbocharger. So there's something weird going on. I can never stand it, me, when like someone's changed the cam sensor. It was here, it was about a year ago, but I don't know why they did it. And now I don't know why the car was running rough when I started, now it doesn't. Why was it not starting? Now it does start. Now, before I start scoping, I'm going to just physically look at the cam sensor, see if I can actually see anything wrong with it. Second thing I can do, I suspect there's something to do with timing chain. I don't think it's wiring. I think it's coincidence when they change the sensor or something. I don't know what. Well, there's nothing untoward there. It's just a cam sensor hole with a pickup. It's gear driven, chain driven. There's the sensor that was changed. Not really, it's unremarkable, as you would say. There's nothing really to judge. You can get a bit carried away with misdiagnosing, so sometimes when they run rough and they start misfiring a bit on startup, it can be because these are carboned up. Look, it's carboned up, and that's just coked intake ports. That's incredibly carbon, so the banging and the clattering when it started is related to this and not related to the camshaft sensor, in my opinion, my experience anyway. So I'll recommend that we do nutshell blasting of the intake ports, because that's absolutely, it's on my finger now, this stuff's bloody horrible. It's like, and it's wet as well. So if it's wet, you need to be looking at what about the EGR cooler, is that leaking? Because that's common on BMW N47s. So we've diagnosed this rough running when it starts up as that, potentially that's leaking. And then now we need to look at this cam sensor. So my theory was, open the wiring here, check it there, check it along here, and then usually the conduit, they start rubbing with the grit. But look, check that out. You know, things can be right under your bloody nose, can't they? Now, it's either a rat or, it does look like a rat, doesn't it? Like a mouse has been having a go. And that wiring's heavily corroded, they'll all have to replace that. But my theory is, let's look at the wiring colours. We've got a red and a blue and a blue and green. How much you want to bet that's 5 volt ref? And it's affecting the cam sensor indirectly. Let's go and check out wiring diagram, and I'll draw you a sketch and let you know what I find. Right, so this is our wiring diagram. Camshaft position sensor on the left, boost pressure sensor on the right. So it's not what I thought. The cam sensor's run on 12 volt system. So there's your 12 volt there. That's your signal. This one, that's the ground. So forget about that. We have got an issue with that, but I've just found this, as you see, in the wiring problem. So this is the wiring that was rubbed through. So pin 1 is the 5 volt feed. Pin 3 is the 5 volt ref output. And pin 2 is a ground. Well, pin 1 and 2 are the ones that were touching together. So I'm guessing them shorting, they're going to feed back into the DDE somewhere and then somehow affect this sensor. That's the theory anyway. If this doesn't work when I repair the wires, I'm going to have to look at doing an investigation in that conduit what I've shown you. So with a bit of luck that should cure it, and then that'll be another one out the door and back onto the next one. So once again we turn to being police detectives. There's a lot of mouse crap there. There's a lot of mouse crap there as well. Look, see the little bobbles of mouse poo there. So I'm gonna go and wash my hands. So basically the mouse has had a field day chewing wires. That little sods there, they cause nothing but problems. So in theory, There could be some mouse chewed wires somewhere else, couldn't there? But we'll fix them first and see if that cures it. Otherwise I'm going to have to go on a hunt for a filthy little mouse. Yeah. The car's nothing, but it looks alright, doesn't it? I don't think it can't get inside the harness there, so I think we're alright with that, but yeah. Yep, it's had a good chew and it's probably buggered off at the other end, so let's fix that now and see what happens. Get out there, it's terrible. Yeah, so I'll give you the pro tip for you. When you do your wiring first, put them horizontally that way, don't wrap them in a big lump. Just roll them like a resistor paper. It's a lovely neat job, and then we'll put a bit more tape on that. Yeah, it'll be right that one.
Well, it certainly seems to be running okay now, doesn't it? So, what do I do? Do I leave it and let the guy try it, or do I start ripping it apart? Probably I'll let the guy try it really, because in my opinion, although it's a different voltage track, it's definitely caused, I think. Didn't even put a fault on the new sensor. Oh, we'll clean his intake manifold out and check the EGR. In my opinion, I think that's a job done. If it doesn't happen again, I think that'll be okay. All's well that ends well, that's what I say. It's my last job of the day. A bit of a tired looking E46 M3. With the original computer in it. I like it, very nice. So airbag lights on. My task on this classic is to understand what's going on. There we are, old airbag shaboola's on there, look. See if the Johnson can fix it, guys and gals. So at this point in time I could probably look at measuring things, but I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal first to make it safe. What we're going to do is take this off because it's quite loose and I think there's some resistance in there, and it's one of these weird ones that you've got to hook and open up. And what we'll do, we'll just insert the resistor in there instead of the cable part of the squib. And then from that point on, if it works, it could be an issue with the squib itself, which means it will need a new positive cable which contains this device. A little bit tricky to get this out. I wonder if there's another connector, probably not. I think there is somewhere in this vehicle. It'd be a lot easier to do it that way, I'll tell you. When you got there, you can check the connector. Here we are. Great. So that should troubleshoot the harness all the way back to the airbag unit, and then later we just have to worry about that little harness there in between that and that. So we need to pull this off now, and by pulling that off, I'm just sussing out how to do it. I think we need to pull that shaboola out the way there. By getting rid of that now, we can check this harness from this point here to this point here, because we know from this point here all the way back to the ECU it's okay, because it puts the lights out with our resistor what we just used. But the important thing now is to assess this. Now if the light goes out when I plug this back in here like this and put the resistor inside that one, the fault might well be either it's this or it's this plug. Well, the cheapest option is to order a new mini harness first. Now you can use a fluke meter, but I don't want to use any meters. I've danced with it all my life and I'm not going to teach you guys and gals how to measure that with a fluke meter. You can easily just spread the shorting links and measure resistance, disconnect it, etc. But it's dangerous if it goes off. Not so bad, but if it's an airbag, take your fingers off or whatever. So safety first really, innit? So we're all safe disconnected, so we need to pull this off here somehow. Looks like a right pain in the arse. You can't get it off, I think it's built in. Oh, about weird setups I've ever seen. This is like a bloody Scotch lock and it just crimps in like that. So what I'm going to do is, because you can't take it off, you can only take the lid off, it's really weird. I'm going to basically make new crimps. I'm going to take them out, shorten them, make sure I do one at a time, and I'm going to make new crimps because I've never seen out like that. Normally it's a plug you can undo and replace. Probably no doubt you can get a mini harness for that, but no one's going to be waiting for that. I don't want to be waiting either for it.
Jesus. Painting them up, I think. So that's extremely good news, because obviously putting the resistor on that part of the circuit hasn't erased the fault, but when we put it on that part of the circuit it did, which means there's a fault between this point here and this point here, which is excellent, which means we don't have to worry about that squib. It's probably alright, is that? So I think what we'll do, we'll check the resistance of this and see how we get on with it. Now it's just a bare wire, bench test it here. Right, and so first thing we need to do before we start measuring this harness is spread the shorting links. So we need a cable tie, we need to trim it down so as it fits and spreads and opens the links, and that way we can measure it effectively, otherwise it'll short the resistor what I've put in and nothing will work. Just like that, that's perfect, is that? Just like that. And that way we can now measure the top. So it seems we have a problem in this safety connector actually, which is a bit depressing. Well, it looks like we were successful with that, and it's always nice because otherwise it would have had to be rebooked for a battery cable. So yeah, I'm crazy happy about that, really. Cool, let's build it up. Yeah, so in the end it turned out actually the fault was inside this shorting link connector, so we just chipped that off. So I basically put some airbag compatible connectors on, and what we're going to do now is, this is a really unusual connector, but we'll put them in there now and then mate it onto there, and they'll crimp in place. It's like a Scotch lock basically, look. There. So it's like a Scotch lock, so we'll do that and hopefully test. Well, there's no airbag light now. It's a bit out of focus, isn't it? There we are, no airbag light. It's time for a quick road test. And then that's all. The job's done for today. Thanks for watching.